Okay, Module 1, Step 2. Again, I will try to highlight major concepts, but as you're looking at your instructions will primarily tell you what to do if you know what you're doing. So again, it says in datasheet view, rename the default primary key field to tutor ID. So what we're on now, in order for you to understand how to make this update in the datasheet view, then you have to determine where are your views. So I'm going to say view. We're in our datasheet view, and your other view will be design view. So once we verified our view, so the datasheet view and design view, I'm not going to do the design view yet. So the first thing it says is locate the ID field. So we have the ID field here, making sure that it's visible. It says right click on the ID column header. So again, you'll have rows. You have this descriptions and these items that are specifically outlined and shown to you in module 1 in the ebook. And it says all of these terms. You will have to know these terms in order to be able to complete the instructions. There's no kind of in between because we'll be building pyramids throughout the semester. And what that means is that one item depends on the other. So we're going to right click on our column heading and do rename field. And notice when we did a rename field, how the ID changed and now our cursor is blinking inside. And I may have to zoom in a little bit more. So we have our number blanket. It says select rename field. We've done that. We're going to type in tutor ID. You'll notice also when you do the submission, Access is going to perform a little different than some of your other applications because there's so much going on behind the scenes. So when you actually upload your project, you'll get your assignment downloaded. So it kind of acts more as an application than just a standard Microsoft Word. Sorry. Alrighty, so we've done that. Press enter to rename the tutor ID. So notice my cursor is still there. I'm going to press enter. Notice that when it told me to right click, I right clicked here in the columns. If you right click and you are not in the column header, and if you're in the fields, you're not going to get that rename field. So one of the greatest things I can say is attention to detail, attention to detail, attention to detail. Because again, it said in datasheet view, rename the default ID primary key to tutor ID. Change the data type of tutor ID field to short text. So it says change the data type to short text. So here we're going to make sure that our tutor ID column is still selected, which it is. And we're going to go to, it says open the fields tab. So we're going to click on the fields tab in the ribbon. So in order to change the data type, and we'll talk about the data type, it says click the data type drop down and change it from auto number to short text. So I'm going to change here. Thanks for your patience as we continue with number 2 or step 2. Here, we wanted to make sure that we were on the Fields tab, and here we noticed that in my case, and again, your screens may look different from mine, um, you start with the Table Fields tab, so you'll notice that each of these are tabs. They ask us to update the primary key field to tutor ID. So here, the data type is that, and change it to short text. So that's number 2. So in step 2, we've been in the datasheet view. We've changed the key field to tutor ID, and we've changed the data type to short text. So the next item says add the following 6 fields to the table in the order as shown. All are short text except for hire date, and hire date is date time. Resize the columns so complete field names display, and then save the table as tutor. I'm going to, because you'll need to know and be exposed to both of these views. You can do it here the way that Sam will teach you, but I'm going to also show you another way to be able to enter the information. So I'm going to enter the information from design view. So here, when I'm changing, we've named the database, but we haven't named the tables or those entities within. So it's asked me to name it tutor as I'm forcing it to change, and you'll see that in step 4. So I'm changing to data sheet. I mean to your design view for a few reasons. And it goes back to number 2. It says as 2, rename the default ID primary key. Notice here that when we're in design view, we can see the primary key and the data type. So it's just easier to do it from here. You can do it from the other screen as well. I like doing things here. It's more streamlined for me to update the fields or do that here inside of this information. Um, so just to make sure that you understand, a primary key is just that. It's a unique ID. There can't be duplicates. So there should not be 2 social security numbers in the world that are duplicate, and there shouldn't be 2 primary keys that are duplicate. That gives it its unique field. Um, so I'm not going to type in all of these. I'm going to type in most of them to show you how they display, and you'll be responsible for entering the other information. But now, so we're after tutor ID. They want first name, last name. Also, there are going to be a lot of times that you will enter things into the database, and you'll guarantee that you have everything right, and Sam marked it wrong, and you spelled everything correctly, and you have everything there, and Sam is telling you that it's not there. That's because Sam grades by pixels. It doesn't grade by our human eyes. So if you have something that's off, if you have maybe a space that shouldn't be there, a period that's out of place, underscores, words, letters transversed, they will mark it wrong because it is wrong. So make sure that you have and you do your attention to detail. I'm doing mine just to make sure my field names are in here, and then I'm going to show you the difference. Again, I may not type it all the way to the end, but I will give you all concepts. So that was the major. And then the next thing I'm going to type hire date. I am fully aware that I have skipped the other materials. You're still responsible for doing the practice, but this is just to make sure that you understand what the materials are and how they are. So after you've added your 6 fields, all are short text except hire date. So hire date is going to be date and time. So in my data type, I'm going to change it, hire date, to date and time. Notice that when you change your data type, it also changed what is available inside or your choices to make as far as your formatting is concerned. I'm going to go back. This is design view. This is kind of that baseline for it. This is that structure. So in order to see what it looks like, I'm going to go back to the data sheet view. And it's forcing me to save my table, which is fine. And notice now we have your hire date, your last name, major, things of that nature. So again, even though we entered it into the design view, that's the design, that's that baseline. We now see it and we have it here in the data sheet view. We've named the table to tutor. And the next element that it wants us to do is they want us to open that support file. So I'm going to stop here and start with 6 and opening the support file.